Greetings, one and all. This is Off to Battle, and I am covering patch 2.3 of Immortal Empires, Total War Warhammer 3. And I wanted to get an early look because I really wanted to see how these supposed leadership nerfs were going to work out, because here you see, and that's with Khalida buffing. The base leadership has gone down to 35, I believe it is. Well, they have their flanks protected, so that's why they're getting minor leadership above 35. So I'm not doing anything weird in this battle. I'm just approaching it like I've been approaching this opening battle of Khalida's campaign, and just taking out this fort tower with artillery and doing what I can here. And this is a rushed battle. So there's an enemy army with the garrison. It amounts to 4 Crypt Ghoul units, which are actually the easier types, because Crypt Ghouls are very easy to deal with archers, and the extra ammo that the Khalida army gets. But, and here I'm just using Khalida to buff my artillery just a little tiny bit. Starting to get in some shots. I'm not too worried about the arrows that are going here, because there are some soft targets here, and if they're not actually facing, then the shields are not going to be up. So things like the Direwolves, not worried, because it's good that they're being shot. So yeah, lots of little changes with this patch, but the Vampire Kings, excuse me, I'm mixing them up. The Vampire Counts definitely needed to have their leadership buff from getting into Warhammer 3 removed for game balance. But the Vampire Coast and the Tomb Kings got it anyway. So lots of units, not including the Tomb Scorpion, but a lot of the Tomb King units got the leadership nerf. And that's to go with crumbling damage that's higher than it was. So the idea is to have them crumble sooner, crumble more, but not to the extent that the demonic units would. Now here, shooting at Crypt Ghouls, that's a good thing, because they're low armor and they don't have shields. Unfortunately, the Skeleton Warriors do, so that's sort of wasting the ammo a bit, but you get what you can, you take what you can get. It's been a while since I've been doing these videos, because I got some work. I got some translation work, and that's not a bad thing. So did some of that, worried about getting that done before getting back into videos, and there we go. Finally had a patch up. Crypt Ghouls up on the walls, they're just prey. So what I'm doing is just keeping my cavalry back for later, doing a breach here. I'm trying to get multiple breaches and be able to because I can always take out the gate normally. So a consequence of the lower morale is that things like the Crypt Ghouls will break a lot easier, and they'll go down faster. And that reduces some of the mass that you're dealing with. See, they're almost to the point of crumbling away, but well, they are crumbling, but they're not actually disintegrating. There we go. We're just taking what the enemy gives us. We have a few pot shots being taken by the sheltered widows. And here I'm just trying to start firing into areas to hopefully take out some troops. Although here they've actually dodged. This campaign is on hard, by the way. because that's what I've been doing of late. Though I had taken a break of sorts. So then I shift things around a bit. And I'm just trying to a little bit of lag. Oh, that's right. That's because I paused and I remembered, Jeremiah, don't do that. Don't pause because it breaks up your videos. But I didn't need to do much of that. So see what's left of the crypticals. So here I should be, yeah. I left my artillery there because I didn't feel that they were under immediate threat, but actually, the Felbats tried to do something about that. So I had to move Khalid over this way, and of course, I started moving my cavalry because I had my starting horseman archer cavalry, which are enough to deal with Felbats in a favorable situation. So I just didn't want to lose that artillery, but of course, because the artillery wasn't crazy far behind, I was able to get Polito over there, and only one Felbat unit actually stayed committed to the fight. So here, yeah, just taking pot shots at anything, because there are still crypt ghouls there, and the Grave Guard are the toughest unit on the entire battlefield. So those bats collapsed. These are very close to it. And now, see, instead of me doing the pathfinding, we're seeing that it's the enemy doing pathfinding here, or at least being stuck in the gap. But no, here they come, here they come. The Nekara warriors have higher base morale anyway, so even though that they lost morale also, well, the spearmen were 45 and the warriors, the skeleton warriors, were 14, which was a very clear reason to take the skeleton spearmen in basically all cases, with very, very, very rare exceptions. Now it's a lot more even because they're both 35. So essentially, they're both trash. But they're really not. There's just more expendable than before. And here we're just doing a little bit of infantry buffing. Now, I also had to rush forces over because they actually brought in their black bites. Somehow it's bringing up the tooltips in I don't want it to. Like that. Must be a setting. Anyway, fleet out Venom Wave. We wanted to take out those Black Knights, and also, I mean, they have their Lord in a vulnerable position here, so why not take him out relatively early, even if it costs us some Kalita HP in the process. Our archers are exhausted of arrows. There we go. Yeah, have the Ashati come in and contribute here. You're armored, they don't care. Yeah, he's about to go down also. The Ashanti are not the toughest unit on the battlefield because that would be the Grave Guard, but they are very helpful. They just don't have high stats in terms of two hit, but just being in Kalita's general vicinity is helping with that. And there we go, the war goes down. Because we took what was available, that's fine. And we took down this wall so that we could start moving units there bit by bit. And of course, we have the gate open, so we have a fight going on here. But since these are choke point battles, well, crit ghouls, not too worried about those. I say that just because the Arch of Fire will help whittle them down. The Nanakar warriors are pretty decent in a dark alley fight. I know it's going to be some sort of setting, but let's see what it is. Anyway, you see the general layout here. I wanted to move my Shopti over there, but I didn't want them to go charging through the gates. So there still is a certain amount of babysitting involved. But depending upon the unit, you can actually convince them to cooperate more or less, it seems. And you'll see in a short bit when I move cavalry, because that was the next plan. Yeah, because I just want to get in the backs here. And of course, Lita can handle herself pretty well, too. So I want her to use her Venom Strikes as long as I can get enough units around to actually get maximum benefit. He's definitely delivering the Venom even with the normal attacks. I hear I have the Ashanti Great Bows just contributing in the melee fight because somewhere in this mosh pit we have the Grave Guard. There we go. I put some of my buffing spells on the Ashanti. But yeah, from here it's a brutal fight. And anything with, units forgetting their orders or stuff like that, it's makes for a mess, but I'm just trying to get as much engagement going on here. And I didn't want Khalid to be too stuck in there until the very end. So I got Spearmen here. And I was getting cavalry, the horse archers, to come around and contribute. So what I noticed about this patch here is that cavalry seem to respond better already. And not that I want all the cavalry stuck in there, but if the cavalry are pathfinding better, it's still a help. There we have even more of the undead forces of the enemy coming. Well, one or two, but the vampire stuff. So they committed more and more to this fight. And here is Nehakar warriors. They're holding their own. They're whittling down the enemy forces. It's just slow. So I had some archer fire being thrown here into this mosh pit. Kalita there. Thing is that once Kalita goes down under 50 HP, she's going to do an area effect damage spell on everything. So yeah, I want her able to get that Venom Wave off. I want her to get it off on the Tomb Guard if possible, but it was not to be. So just having her here, as long as I don't actually lose her, probably not going to lose this fight. That was the logic going in, and the rest is, well, and getting some horse archers charging in from behind. And hey, they do have swords. Might as well use them. Just surround them and do all the damage that we can. And you see that they are crumbling. But even though that their lord has been dead for quite some time here, well, I mean, returned to the grave, it's hurting them. But it's only there when Kalita goes under 50 HP and does her curse. Now they're really starting to go bad. And there the curse is over. And it seems just a matter of time and not being careless, but it's still a pretty big mess. I did lose one of my horse archer units in the process. But doing as much as I could to produce morale shots to finish off the opponents, that is something I did want. So you see visibly all the crumbling effects. But it's still just crumbling. And here I have Kalita actually out of the fight, just to give her a chance to recover a little bit of stamina. And then when she goes in, she gets her charge bonus again. And you see her trying to get those last little bits of morale dropping with all these skeletons spooning. Actually zombies. And Graveguard there. The Graveguard were still there. No wonder they were just holding on. And the fresh skeleton warriors were here too. Yeah, these are the horse archers that I lost. So it wasn't by much, it's just that there was too much going on and they crumbled. Leah taking hits because she's pretty exhausted. One unit wiped out, and I just wanted to make sure that Kalia wasn't going to actually go back to the tomb here because that had the potential of losing my entire army, but nope, they were on their last legs. And that's it. So you see some of the interactions. I think that if the pathing does turn out to be better, it's going to be a major help to cavalry, especially smaller, like monstrous units cavalry, like Demigryph Knights, that sort of thing. If they're not tripping over each other as much, if they're not blobbing up as much, then they might have a real advantage. But that remains to be seen. This battle is always messy, but if it can be done, then you secure the first city, the first big city in the campaign. And if, like, I mean, I'm sure there's other ways to approach it, but it's a painful way. But if you get it done, you get it done. Take care, have fun. Hope you enjoyed this patch. Let me know what you think. Seriously. because it does feel like Kalita got something of a nerf bat here in terms of the early game infantry, the meatless meat shields. Take care, everyone.